Raid Shadow Legends, Stu here, and we're going to be going over Relentless gear. What is Relentless gear? Maybe some of you don't have Relentless gear at all, or you've never even seen it or paid attention to it. How do you get it? How does it work? Will it affect you? And should you even care about it? Let's get into that. Let's see where it's at. So if you go to your champions, go to an artifact, go to upgrade, and then right here hidden at the top is this little icon. And click on it, you'll be able to see all the artifacts. So go down here. This is kind of a hidden gem. Not a lot of people know about this. I think it was in a different place before and they moved it. So go down here to the very bottom. You'll start seeing artifacts. If you have any questions about artifacts, you can see it here. We're going to go down to Relentless gear. Relentless artifacts. So far down. Here we go. So here are Relentless. I can't even highlight it. But basically, you have an 18% chance to take an extra turn. It's a 4-piece set. So you put that 4-piece set on whoever you want. It doesn't matter. And they have an 18% chance to take an additional turn. Now I've got to scroll all the way back down to it. So it takes that 18 and drops it 45% down to like a 9. Where is it at? Where are the exact numbers of it? Relentless. So it goes to a 9.9 and then a 5.5 and so on. Really the most that you can ever proc would be about 4 times. You're ever going to see it proc 4 times in a row, which is huge. If you've ever played Summoner's Wars, I played Summoner's Wars for about 4 years. I still have a beast account in Summoner's Wars. And I could show you there, but I'm going to show you here. Summoner's Wars Violent Runes proc at 22%, and then they decline down to like 12, I don't know, 7, 4, something like that. The same thing. This is what it's based off of. Same stuff, just like World of Warcraft was based off of EverQuest. I put a whole bunch of Relentless gear on some of my champions, not champions that I use a lot, so we're not going to be able to run through level 20 because I just slapped on what I had. I don't have really good Relentless gear. Let's go. Oh, that's right. Let's look at where you get it first. So you go into tournaments. You have to be number 1 or number 2 to get the Relentless gear. So here you can see to be number 1, you get a 6-piece and they're epic. If you're number 2, 6-star, and this is a 5-star. See the difference here? So you definitely want to be first place. And then you got it. It's random, right? You're going to get chest pieces with resistance, accuracy. You're going to get pieces that have no speed, no crit. You're going to get boots that aren't speed. It's very, very random. In Summoner's Wars, you can farm this in an actual dungeon, so it's fair for everybody. Everybody has it. Because what happens here is it becomes truly pay to win. So it is pay to win. In these brackets, you are not going to win this tournament because whoever is up here is going to pay to win these and only a few people. So only a few people per tournament. And I think during the summoning tournaments, when you summon champions, there's gold. There's legendary 6-star up there that you can get. So that's how you get this. That's how I got it in this tournament right here. As you can see, I'm first place, and that's how I got it in whatever Dragons and whatever other champion tournaments they have. Actually, and it should be, I feel like it should be a feature where you can farm for it, or if you don't want to farm for it, put it in a game where it's fun, where we have like a 5% chance in every dungeon we run to get a piece of Relentless gear instead. That way, while we're farming, all of a sudden a piece of Relentless gear drops, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. And you can slowly build up and get your own Relentless gear. It would take you still forever. You're still going to have to compete in those tournaments and do well. And to do even better in those tournaments, you get that Relentless gear. That's what you get to take those extra turns. Because when you take it, all these people have Relentless gear. I put them all in Relentless gear. Seeker's about the only one that has decent speed Relentless gear. The rest of it's pretty much just what I had. I just took it to 12, put them in it. So I don't expect anything fantastic. Now Ina can take an additional turn from her skill 1. So she might be able to take an additional turn, reset the Relentless, take additional turns. The most I've ever seen her take so far is 3. Seeker has an ability that puts a buff up and increases your turn meter, and then it allows him to take an extra turn, but we can still proc an extra turn on top of that and take 2 turns in a row after that. But I've never seen it do more than 2 turns in a row off of that proc. Actually, I think I did. I think I saw him do 4 a little while ago. So you can proc it. It's just a lower percentage, right? It's a low percentage chance. But it's insane because if somebody attacks you, we're just going to roll this. If somebody attacks you in PvP, you take additional turns, you drop off a debuff that you had on you. You take additional turns, you're doing an additional 100% damage, lowering the cooldown on all your skills and coming back around to take your skills. So let's pay attention here. I'm not going to talk too much. I want to see additional turns. I want to see a lot of additional turns. Extra turn, here we go. That was only 1. Extra turn, here we go. Now, can you imagine fighting a Skull Crown in Arena, does an AoE. There he goes, takes an extra turn. And then immediately turns around and does another AoE on you. And then it turns around and does another AoE on you. What would you do against that? What would you do against the Skull Crown hitting you 3 times in a row consecutively Nothing. There's nothing you could do about it. That's why these artifact sets are so broken in Summoners Wars, and they've been tested there for 4 years plus. I've used Relentless gear, Violent gear over there in Summoners Wars forever. 90% of my guys are in the Relentless equivalent over there in Summoners War. The ones that aren't are in speed sets because they're speed boosters like this guy is, like Seeker is. They're the ones that speed boost your team, or you need them fast for a certain reason, like Molly Tanker, just to provoke everybody. So you don't need her in that. You need that little bit additional speed. But let's say you have the same exact speed as you would a speed set. You're just not getting that speed set bonus. You still want Relentless gear. Relentless gear trumps everything out there. It doesn't matter what it is, unless you need it specifically for the clan boss. Say you need it for the clan boss to stay alive, you need lifesteal gear, so you're going to have lifesteal gear on those guys for the clan boss. I get that. You're not going to be able to put Relentless gear on because it's a 4-piece set, but you are going to want it anywhere else in the game. And why it will affect you is because tournaments, right? These tournaments, to actually get this gear, it can affect you with that. Clears, it'll affect you in PvP. If PvP ever becomes competitive, say we ever have a leaderboard where it shows us the top 100 and those actual people get rewards for that top 100, well, the ones that are going to be up there are ones with amazing teams and then ones with amazing Relentless gear for sure, because like I said, it's crazy. Say I had a 2-turn decrease defense on myself and all of a sudden I took 2 to 3 turns, that drops off. Not only am I doing crazy amount of damage and lowering my cooldowns, in Summoners Wars it's even worse. I'm glad it's not like this here. I haven't noticed it here, but in Summoners Wars it would make me mad because people who were stunned can pop out of stun. They would take their turn as they're stunned and then they get an extra turn. They could proc it then, and then they would actually do an attack, which would really make me mad because they do like a couple attacks after that. But in this game, I haven't noticed it, which is a good improvement. But it's so broken even in Summoners Wars that for their real-time arena, they had to make it to where you could only proc 1 additional turn and that's it. Only 1 additional turn, because to be competitive in an actual competitive real-time arena where both people are playing at the same time, it was 2 RNG for wins. Way too many RNGs for wins. So they couldn't do it. I think that battle went over a lot faster than I thought it would. I think we're a lot stronger because I gave her a little bit more gear. Let's do it one more time. Let's replay and see what's going on. So it is a very strong artifact set that's been tested for 4 or 5 years already in Summoners Wars, because this is copied from Summoners Wars. So do we need to worry about it here or do testing here? We don't need to do testing here. It's already been done. We already know what will happen. I've played it for years and years, so I already can tell you that that is what happens. If we jump over to my Summoners War account and I show you my guys, all of them with all this Relentless gear, they are just taking turns nonstop. It's pretty gross. You take somebody like Turvold, who's just like Seeker, who buffs himself and takes an extra turn. My Lord Shazar buffs himself and takes an extra turn. So it gives them, you know, extra turns upon extra turns, and they kind of stack. So right now, if my Seeker were to proc an extra turn, when he takes an extra turn, he's going to take 2 turns. Kind of doesn't stack because he's already taken an extra turn, but then he will take another turn immediately. So it's pretty wild is the amount of damage you could put out. Obviously, these are not heavy DPS classes, and it looks like my Ina's going to go down. No, she got healed a little bit. So I can't really show you yet. I haven't found anybody. Seeker has my best gear on right now, and I do have some Relentless gear that actually has 23% crit rate and all that kind of stuff. So I can eventually put it on somebody like Seer or somebody else who is very strong. Somebody who has like a 3-turn cooldown, even somebody like Bad L. Much better to take an additional turn than to do, you know, a cooldown on a skill 2, right? For the reflex gear. It's much dirtier to take an additional turn, and you could do up poisons and heals, come back around 3 turns, do up poisons and heals. It can happen. So it's ridiculous. So ridiculous. So that's pretty much what the gear is all about. If you've been watching, I've been talking to you guys and looking right here, so I really haven't been looking down here, but I can tell you that if we slow it down and you look at the amount of extra turns on this whole entire team, and then you take this team with good speed, with good actual gear, extra turn, there we go. Show them. Oh man, I was hoping for one more. So if you take this and put it on a deadly champion, say you put it on Biggin, and he comes in and he does his skill 3, skill 2, and then hits you with his skill 1, what's going to be left? I mean, what would be left in a PvP environment? And what would be left in an environment where you're doing a wave? I mean, he's doing 3 total damage dealing skills. His skill 3, and then a skill 2, chance to stun, and then a skill 1 if it crits, it AoEs again. So it would be insane. It would be crazy. I mean, just immediately three turns, boom, 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 just from him alone. And then now it's your other people's turn who could have the same stuff on. And then how is it going to affect somebody like Prince Kaimar who can lower cooldowns? All of a sudden, he's taking extra turns, and he's got a good skill kit anyways. With his moves, his skill 1 can put up a poison, it's AoE. His skill 2 can remove buffs and then do a sleep. So it's on a 3-turn cooldown as well, his skill 2. But then his skill 3 is like on a 5-turn cooldown, I think. I'd have to look at my Kaimar. A 5 or 6, I think it's 5. But that gets lowered, and then it gets pretty insane. And then you already got the unkillable comps out there. You give it to the unkillable comps, right? It would throw them out of whack if you're doing a auto unkillable, yes. But if you're not doing an auto unkillable and you just wanted to get it earlier, you know, it could work better for some unkillable comps. I'm not saying it kind of might mess up the way because right now they've got unkillable down, right? You got it down to a science. But still, things of that nature, it can really affect it and make things in this game super strong. If you had it on a Valkyrie and then she's got a 3-turn cooldown to do her retaliation on everybody, and then also the shield, the massive shield, depending on her defense for your whole team, she could come back around to that after another turn. I mean, it's pretty wild. It gets insane when you start talking about the amount of turns that a whole team can take to lower their cooldowns, to do additional damage, to drop off debuffs. And then you got to consider that it's only for the elite, that it's not for you or me all the time, that it's only for the people who spend money and that are really have the strong top champions and the top teams for the game, or who during the summoning event obviously spend like tens of thousands of dollars to get first place in their bracket. So, I mean, you can't compete with that. So therefore you can't get the gear whatsoever. It's not available to you, which again, just goes around to the whole thing of Raid's Shadow Legends, right? I know we're talking about Relentless gear, but I'm going to get off on a little different spiel here, that this game feels like it is just for the upper echelon of players, of people who have money and just want to spend money on a gacha game. This game doesn't scream anything out for free to play, for low spenders. There's no way for you still after a year and a half for you to get books anywhere. You know, once you've done your initial logins, there's nowhere still for you. I mean, if you can't get high enough in the clan boss, then you don't obviously have a chance to get books. And if you're not doing Ultra Nightmare clan boss, I can tell you right now, you're not having the chances that those people have. Ultra Nightmare clan boss have a crazy amount of chance to get good shards and to get good books often, all the time, like every day kind of stuff, almost every day, very often. So it leaves the other people out there with just no options. There's no way to get books in the game, so they leave the game. There's no way to get the Relentless gear. There's no way to do a lot of things in this game, which are just basically, it's wrong, right? It should never be that way in any game you play. Free to play should always be able to do what any spender can do, but at a much longer time frame. 6 months down the line, a year down the line, but they should always be able to accomplish what they do within time. Time is money, so you spend the money, you get it fast, you get it early, but it should not be this way. So I think the Relentless gear is broken. I think it's wrong. I think it is better than Summoner's Wars because it doesn't seem to proc off of stuns and sleeps and all that kind of stuff. But I think the way that you acquire it, the way that only the top end players can use it, and that most people in the game will never even see it. They'll never even have a Relentless set to play with, and it's very random. So I think it should be put into a dungeon, or it should be a random drop in dungeons for people to have a chance to have it. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about Relentless set? I hope you saw enough procs because I really wasn't paying attention all the time to it. I hope you saw enough procs. I hope you remember where to go to look at the artifacts information. It's kind of hard to find sometimes. You got to go in here. You got to go upgrade and then hit this button here and then scroll down. You'll be able to see all the artifacts, but you can go here and get all the information. Anything you ever wanted to know about these runes, Savage, Taunting, Stun, Frenzy. There's good information here about the Wearer's Turn meter. No, not that one. It's Fury. Fury, good information about that if you want to know how much damage it can do. Plus 5% damage for every 10% HP lost. So go check it out. Let me know your thoughts about Relentless gear in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on a video soon.